have a confession to make. I actually don't trust AI. Meaning, I actually don't really trust it. Like, when someone talks to me about an agent, I'm like, really? Is it an agent? I don't trust it. When someone is talking to me about AI, I'm like, really, what type of AI are you talking about? I'm not sure where AI will go. I'm not sure what it is today. So I feel for you. Meaning, I've been a technologist all of my life. I actually sell AI, and I don't really trust it. And one of the reasons I don't fully trust it is that because I believe that today, in 2025, we are still very naive. We are very naive about what AI is. When someone is building an agent in this year, 2025, it's probably like someone building a website in 95. You're building something of value, maybe. Maybe you're building your personal website, maybe you're building something to sell new products or whatsoever, but you do all of that without the concept of e-commerce or blog post having been invented. It's 95. And when you're building an agent in 2025, you are at the same point. We probably haven't invented or conceptualized the real things that will make money, the real thing that will transform the world. I actually do think that's where we are today when you're talking about AI. We are all very naive. So of course, having this point and these viewpoints, not coming from someone building models, not building frontiers, any type of stuff. I started a business 10 years ago with a very simple perspective, which was, I believe in human. And you're like, oh my God, that's the number 10 version of I believe in human that I'm hearing today. But like what I meant by that, or what I believe in, very specifically, is the fact that to get AI adoption, you need to trust the fact that you've got people in your business that will be able to create AI by themselves. And not the geeks, not like 10 geeks in a room, but like people in every business unit being able to assemble things together and build AI solution by themselves. And now I started my business, I deeply believe that it would be the only way to get real AI adoption in enterprise, to believe in that. Like believe in people being smart by themselves, adopting technology for real, and so making technology simple. And that was my motto, my belief. 10 years forward, 12 actually, it ended up being something being used by large enterprise customers throughout the world. And of course, I've got a bias there in terms of how I think about trust of AI through the prism of my hundreds of customers. So when I look at what they do today, indeed, they are building agents. And it's a funny year, 2025. It's a year where you've got agents being built all over the place. And of course, some of them are working, some of them are not. Some of them bring 10% of productivity somewhere. But, well, if you bring 10% of productivity to less than 10% of your company, it's less than 1% of productivity in the grand scheme of things. But it's a start. That's where we are in 2025. You've got in every business unit the opportunity to use AI to move the needle, to make something that works, understand how it could work, and move forward in terms of use cases. And it's all very different. We've seen situations where a customer could build hundreds of agents, but like none bring tangible value. And at the same time, we've seen situations where the first agent built by a customer was like 20 million ROI, because it was finance, automation, and finding invoices you would not emit otherwise. So the issue of this ecosystem today is that if you use a certain term, agent, to name something that is worth nothing and something that is worth 20 million, it actually means that you're not actually using the right term. You don't know what you're talking about. And that's where we are today, in 2025. In order to get to the next step, to actually build trust, I believe that there is this thing called ambition and fearlessness. That is the next step. And bear with me. I think that we will not trust AI for real until we've seen it move big things. And in the enterprise, big things are very tangible. It's the fact that in every type of business, you've got big, heavy processes that are mostly information-driven, meaning it's about people having Excel spreadsheets, emails, whatsoever, all over the place, and that costs hundreds of millions for each big company. For a bank, it's onboarding your customer. Yeah, for a big bank, it's easily 1 billion. For a pharma, you've got lots of energy being spent in managing the information of clinical trial data. Not doing the actual thing, like just managing the information. In 5 or 10 years, we have to believe that thanks to AI, those things will be done differently. But the issue is, they are complicated. We started to map some of these with some of our customers. And what does it look like? It looks like if you want to do it for real, you have to rethink the process. You have to remap things. You have to challenge yourself. You have to understand that these things could be an agent, but these things would not. This thing should be a human. This thing should be a scoring system, and so forth. You have to be creative. You have to make sure that you can indeed challenge the established way to do things. And this is hard. And this is overwhelming because this is a marketing slide, meaning the real diagram of a process does not fit the slide, in fact. Real life is too complicated, and people are overwhelmed. Like, what should I do with all of those agentic stuff? Where do I start? And because you don't know where to start, you actually don't start. Aha. Big issue. So when you've got this type of issue where you are overwhelmed, sometimes you meet someone maybe at an event like here, which will be like people that are very positive about technology. And you tell, oh, well, I've got complex processes, especially with a French accent, it's easier. I've got complex processes, oh la la. Yeah? There will be agents all over the place, so will I manage them? My data is all over the place. If I don't have solved the data, how can I actually do anything? A big problem. And then this optimistic about technology will tell you, well, don't worry, AI will solve it. The issue of trust of AI is also the fact that there is currently some magic thinking associated to agentic and AI. And you've got several dimensions to it, but it's like you don't really need, maybe in the future, to describe your process because AI will be able to read all of your email and figure that out by itself. Okay. You don't really need to think about how you will orchestrate all of those agents because when the models will be good enough, reasoning will solve for it or something magical, and they will be able to self-orchestrate. It's almost part of an existing worldview that this will happen this way. You don't need to solve your data because you could just put all of your data in one location, and at the end of the day, it will work. There is almost a magical thinking that technology and the evolution of model will actually solve AI by itself. And I deeply hate this type of worldview because I think that it denies what an enterprise actually is. The fact that you make trade-off about how your enterprise should work, the fact that it is complicated, that you're actually managing risk continuously and change and so forth. In the real world, you need to decide what you want to be deterministic versus not in your business. When there is a change, I don't know, there is a new regulation in China. Will you just upload a PDF and hope that the machine will take it into account? No, you will actually do proper change management because it's your job as a company. Agentic won't solve that. And your data, you actually need to select what's worse and how you want to manage it. So what I believe is that in order to trust AI, you will have actually to, well, actually manage it, actually build it, actually decide how you unlock this information that is in our brain in terms of how an enterprise should work, how a company should be doing decision-making and problem-solving, and put it somewhere. You cannot trust AI until you put it in a box of some sort. So when you do that, you're not doing something that is terribly new in the grand scheme of things. A very naive way to think about the enterprise landscape is that in the enterprise, you've got different domains and applications that are up and running, your big CRM and ERP and so forth. And they manage the domain, the data, the business logic in an integrated manner, and they run the business. And for everything else, the thing that don't fit, the thing where you want to be differentiated and competitive, you're actually building something new. You're building your own stuff. You're building application continuously. And like enterprise have been doing that for 20 or 30 years. In the world of today, they just do it differently. In order to actually be able to do that at scale, enterprises have standardized the way to build applications, bringing either containers or clouds or whatsoever. They formalized the form of computation and application layer. In order to make sure they could use the data properly, they've built data lakes and data warehouses in the last 10 years or so, making sure that everything could be secure and actually used. And it was lots of energy to make that work. My take is in the next 10 years, it will be about putting in a box all of the decision-making and problem-solving and way to think about how you should run your business into a same box. Those things that is locked today in the brain of the people, that should be put in something that you actually manage. Putting together and building a layer of reasoning you can use in order to actually scale all of those agents and applications in some way. And so building this type of capabilities is probably the only way that enterprise will actually create something that they can trust, because they will be able to see it and manage it. It seems a bit crazy, but when you think about the world of data, 20 years ago, people talking about data were thinking about an actual hard drive and some databases and so forth. The notion of cloud or data layer was very abstract. Today, for us, it's something real. Today, we think about intelligence almost as something abstract in the enterprise. But in 5 or 10 years, you will have something very concrete in every enterprise that should be a form of a brain, a form of formalization of its decision-making that would be very specialized and managed by the enterprise itself. And that's a challenge for most enterprises if they want to survive. So I'm a little bit into semantics sometimes, and so I'm sometimes wondering what should be the name of this thing. I would rather like not to call it intelligence per se, the thing you have to formalize in the enterprise. Why? Because I do still believe that intelligence is something complex. Intelligence is actually about emotion. It's about being creative and so forth. And even if language, even if speech and vision is essentially commoditized, in the sense that it's today obviously better done by the machine, there are some components of intelligence that I hope will stay human in the next decade. So it's not all intelligence you actually want to rationalize in the enterprise. It's also a little bit more than decision. It's like all of the way you want to actually think about decision-making at scale. And so, because I also felt into the trap of talking to ChatGPT too much, when I ask it, it says it's probably reasoning, the way to think about it. The thing you want to rationalize in the enterprise is this layer of reasoning that companies will be using in order to actually scale agents. So what's in it, or how to think about it? You have to think about the future of IT of the enterprise as something where you already built different, very agile way to scale compute, to run LLMs, to use GPUs or CPUs and store data. Imagine that all of this is actually solved. On top of that, in this enterprise, you have to formalize more and more the way you do reasoning, the way you manage some building blocks that are either human, you have to pull in the loop, ways to take decisions using just business rules you want to apply, using either predictive systems that make a forecast in a certain way, use generative AI in order to figure this out, or apply another type of logic. And the first problem you've got is you need to continuously assemble those building blocks together and find a way to manage them together. Then you need to explicitly be able to adapt, change, understand, and observe all of those systems together. And so the challenge for the enterprise in the future will be actually to build those type of capabilities, which is what excites me, I guess. Why? Because the only way you bring trust in something is by having an accountable system you can put it in order to judge whether it's working or not. And we will never be able to adopt AI until we actually get to that very boring but important stage. So to wrap it up, I'm not pessimistic about AI. I just don't trust it. But I trust that if you actually apply, as a company, the right setup, there is an opportunity to not just transform step-by-step, agent after agent your organization, but also to transform the big, heavy, mission-critical processes that will transform your business itself. And those things are actually possible. It's just redefining processes. It will take to align people in the business, people in IT, people in compliance, people in risk. It will need leadership motivation, but most companies will have to do it in the next 2 or 3 years. I believe that in order to do that at scale, there is a change in terms of how we think about IT. Not just about the people owning the apps, the people holding the hard drives and the compute and the stock and the data and so forth. IT will have a role in terms of organizing, reasoning, decision-making in an abstract way, which is very hard to conceptualize today, but it will be an evolution of the role of IT that will be disconcerting, but very much needed in order for this to be trusted and work. And in practice, at Dataiku, as we engage currently and help organizations to democratize AI, to help people in the business to adopt it as a technology for their everyday use, our mission and motivation is to find how we can actually help and further build that ecosystem that is pretty much at its early beginning. On that note, I wish you all a very good conference and hope for warmth and sunshine to light up your day. Thank you.